I'm Nathan Lackertz coming to you from NDCI Studios.
And I'm Ian Wilson. We have breaking news about the location of Jesus' burial.
If you have been with us the past few days, we have been covering the crucifixion and burial of Jesus. Jesus was crucified 3 days ago and buried in a tomb by a rich man named Joseph. He was accused of many things, including blasphemy, and this was his punishment for it. His death was declared by a man named Pilate, and Jesus was sent to the cross that very day.
The soldiers at the scene took his clothes. One of them stabbed him in the chest with blood and water coming out. The soldiers were relentless to him. He was buried in the tomb in a garden. Now, we have news that Jesus was missing from the tomb. We have news from the tomb about Jesus' disappearance, and we have people on the scene. I'll send it over to Delaney with an interview.
Hello, Ian. I am currently here at the empty tomb. It appears to me that the body of Jesus is gone and has risen. I am here with a woman who saw the risen Jesus and has spoken to him. Hello, Mary Magdalene. So please explain to me what happened when you encountered Jesus and the emotions you were feeling during all of this.
Well, I was on my way to Jesus' tomb so that I could say a prayer, but I noticed that the stone had been rolled away. I was very confused, but then Jesus appeared to me. My first reaction was shock and then fear, but he told me not to be afraid and be at peace. He was the same Jesus, yet completely different.
What did he say to you?
He said to me, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And I replied, "They have taken my Lord, and I do not know where they laid him." He turned around, and I did not know that it was Jesus at first. He asked me again why I was weeping and who I was looking for. So then Jesus told me to let go of him because he did not ascend to his Father, yet that he was going to go soon. Then he told me to go to the other disciples about the conversation that we just had, that I had just seen the Lord.
Thank you, Mary. Now we have a disciple who is at the tomb after Jesus' rising, Peter, who has agreed to share a few words about his experience. Peter, how did you know Jesus was not there?
Well, when I first saw the clothes, I did not yet understand that Jesus had risen from the dead, so I rolled up the burial clothes in a separate place and returned home.
How did you find out Jesus rose from the dead?
Mary came to me and told me the story about how Jesus rose and him talking to her. I have not yet encountered Jesus, but I hope to.
Thank you, Peter. I hope you get to see the risen Jesus. Now back to you, Ian.
Thank you. We're back here again at the studio. You just saw Jesus' tomb, a major location. Jesus is important to all of us, and he has made a huge impact on society.
The main topics we learned from this interview is that Jesus was an important figure that may still be with us. Even though he died, we have evidence that he might have risen from listening to the interview with Mary Magdalene and Peter.
The meaning behind this story is showing that Jesus is a divine being and that he is the Son of God. We learn that Jesus did fulfill the prophecies and he came back from the dead. Some questions that were proposed were, why was the tomb empty, and what did they do with the body?
We find out that the body was not stolen but might have been resurrected, and the tomb was empty because Jesus probably left the tomb after he came back from the dead.
That was all for tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight on this breaking story. Have a good night.
Closer.
We're touching each other.
Just a little bit closer.
As the co-anchor.
I just walk up Okay, go. I'm gonna start it. Hello, Ian. Risen Jesus.
Want to be like